You've probably seen it in the pictures. Kolli Hills, an epic hill climb with 70 hairpin bends. An absolutely fearsome road with nothing else like this in this part of the country. I've been to Ooty, to Yerka, to Valparai, but none of them are of the scale and the magnitude of this climb. Welcome to Evo India and welcome to the latest episode of Great Driving Roads. And today we've got the Hyundai i20 Turbo along for the drive. Before we get to the climb though, make sure you like this video, comment down below if you have a great driving road near you that we should check out, and make sure you subscribe because as a part of this series, we're going to be taking you around the country to some of the best driving destinations and you're going to want to check out all of them. It's all straight roads getting to the Kolli Hill climb, but you get your first whiff of things with two long sweeping hairpin bends. Those are not the official 70 hairpin bends of the hill climb, but they come before that. After those two hairpin bends, you will cross a gate which is manned by forest officials, and once you're past that, you know you're properly on the Kolli Hills hill climb. Now, 70 hairpin bends is no joke. It's a long climb, and the trick with the Kolli Hills climb is to be patient with it. You need to get used to the road, get used to the traffic, get used to the way people drive, and you have a long time to do that. It's almost 40 minutes to the top. It's a long drive, so you can enjoy yourself. Now, the start of the climb, the first couple of hairpin bends are really wide. You've got a lot of room. There's a lot of light. The forest isn't as dense, and you can actually get into a good rhythm over there. That's the portion of the climb that you need to use to understand what's going on all around you. And the thing about this climb is it's not all hairpins. There's a lot of other bends as well. So it's not just hairpin after hairpin after hairpin, but between the hairpins, you've got a lot of nice corners, smaller sweeping corners, which can be a lot of fun. So you take hairpin number 1, you get past the road, take hairpin number 2, take hairpin number 3, and once you've done that, you'll have a little bit of an idea of what lies ahead and you can pick up the pace slightly. But like I said the other day, it is a long climb. I remember yesterday when we were driving around here for our recce, I was driving up the hill and at some point in time I lost count of what hairpin I was on. Wasn't paying attention to the boards on the side of the road. And I looked at one of them and it said 10 out of 70. I was like, what? I've just finished 1/7 of the entire climb. It felt like an eternity till that point. So this is a long climb, and the more time you spend on it, the more fun you'll have. As you climb further up the road, it gets narrower, and the forest, it gets denser. You need good technique if you're going to drive the Kolli Hills climb, and there are a couple of tricks that you can use to make sure you're being safe and you're enjoying yourself. The first thing you need to do is keep both hands on the wheel at all times. That's the safest way. It gives you the most control over the steering wheel. This is an automatic, so I don't even have to take my hands off for shifting gears, and that leaves me to maneuver the car as much as I can. The second is put your car in its sportiest driving setting, and that's because a lot of cars are built for efficiency, this one included, in its regular drive mode. However, in sport mode, the gearbox is a lot more responsive. It downshifts early, and so when you're climbing up some of the steeper climbs, you're always in the right gear. You're never caught out. When you ask for more gas, the car is never caught out and has to shift down and then give you gas. It's always in the right gear when you're in the sportiest setting. The third thing you need to do has to do with your vision. You need to look as far ahead into the corner as possible. If you're going to look right in front of your car, you're going to miss information that's coming at you early, and that's going to put you in tricky situation. You want to be looking at the vanishing point. You want to be knowing whether the corner is a tightening radius corner or it's opening. You want to be catching traffic coming at you early, and all those things come down to vision and where you're looking. So that is the third critical thing that you need to be doing when you're driving at Kolli Hills. And beyond that, it's just about being sensible. Make sure you're always staying in your lane. When you take hairpins, make sure you're turning in late so that when you exit, you're exiting on your lane and not into the other lane. That's super critical. And just remain safe. Make sure you're not driving too fast and make sure you're having a good time. As you get higher up in Kolli Hills, the road, it narrows down. The forest, it gets a lot thicker, and there are points where I don't think sunlight ever reaches. It's so dark, the forest floor. Some of the Armco barrier over here is full of moss and grime because I guess it never dries up, it never sees the sun. So this part of the Kolli Hills climb, I feel, is a little more treacherous because the roads are so narrow. There is a lot of bus and truck traffic on this road. We're not here on the weekend. There's still a fair amount of traffic. If you're here on the weekend, I'm going to assume that traffic is going to be a lot more. And particularly with the buses and trucks, you need to be really careful because the road sometimes is not wide enough for a truck and a car. So if you hear a truck or a bus honking, slow right down, anticipate, maybe leave a little room where there is space on the road, let the heavy vehicle pass and then carry on with your climb. There's no point barreling into him in the middle of a hairpin. These are heavy vehicles, they're not always very well maintained, and it can get messy. So like I said, safety first and be cognizant of the fact that there are heavy vehicles using this road. Apart from that, this road is absolutely beautiful. It's such a joy to drive because there's so many different kind of challenges that come at you one after the other. No two hairpins are the same. None of them turn the same. None of them have the same radius. None of them have the same width. None of them have the same runoff areas. It's really, every corner is a challenge in itself. It's absolutely beautiful. And the road surface, it's impeccable. There's not one pothole anywhere. There's not one speck. It's absolutely perfect. It's narrow, but it's perfect. And that means you can come around corners knowing that you will not be hitting a bump, knowing that there isn't going to be gravel on the other side of the corner, knowing that you can take the corner with a little bit of commitment without worrying about bad roads at the other end. Another thing about Kolli Hills is the views. Every single corner has the most beautiful views. It's absolutely unbelievable. There's just so much to look at. Now, I don't recommend you look over into the valley while you're driving. You know what they say about look where you want to go. You don't want to end up into the valley. But there are plenty of spots where you can pull off the road, stop your car, get out and just enjoy the views. Make sure you don't walk into the forest because this is a reserve forest and it's actually considered trespassing by the forest department if you walk into the forest. So stay on the designated runoff areas, stay close to the road and enjoy the magnificent views ahead. It's really something. And while we're at it, I need to talk about the Hyundai i20 that I'm driving as well. This is the i20 turbo with the 1 liter turbocharged petrol engine mated to the DCT transmission. And this engine transmission combination is actually a lot of fun for this road. The engine, it's actually peppy, it's smooth, it moves the i20 with a lot of intent. Like I said earlier, the transmission, it needs to be kept in sport to get the best performance out of it. In drive, on some of the steeper hairpins, it gets bogged down slightly. You keep it in sport and it's absolutely responsive. It stays on the boil all the time. You just have to breathe on the accelerator and it gets you moving again. You're never calling for a downshift and it's really well tuned for this sort of driving. As for the suspension, that's another highlight on the i20. The i20 is actually tremendously improved over the last car and the suspension on this i20 is very well suited to this sort of driving. It's comfortable and it's soft in that when you're on bad roads or on regular Indian cities, you will remain very comfortable. But when you get it onto roads like these, it feels so natural. It does not feel floaty and understeery, and it does not feel all over the place. It actually feels dialed in. You can lean on it. You can feel the weight transfer when you turn into a corner. You can lean on that side, feel the grip, and then power out of a corner. It gives you a lot of confidence to start pushing your limits as a driver and pushing the limits of the car. And that's a very enjoyable experience to start exploring both your limits and the car's limits together. A car like this, small, petite, great for these roads, that gives you good confidence, is actually a very enjoyable experience on a hill climb like this. The steering too. It's quick, it's direct. It may not be brimming with feedback, but no electronic power steering systems are. But what's important is that it feels connected to the front end. It feels like you are in control of what the car is doing. And that's a really important sensation to have. The i20 Turbo was probably the most perfect car from Hyundai India's lineup to bring to a hill climb like this. The N-Line also exists, but this car gives you a lot of the performance of the N-Line while remaining a more comfortable, a more all-round car. And that's what I really enjoy about it. This is what you get when you come to the top of Kolli Hills. You've got lovely views of coffee estates and silver oaks. You've got fresh mountain air. You've got sceneries for as far as the eye can see. There's also a temple here if you want to go pay your respect. Kolli Hills is a place where you can sit back, relax, take a break from the hustle and bustle of modern life. And when you're done with that, you get to drive down one of India's best driving roads again.